4 years ago, in my high school AP literature class, I read arguably one of the most important lines written in a fiction novel. It goes like this: "But I don't want comfort. I want God. I want poetry. I want real danger. I want freedom. I want goodness. I want sin." These were the words of John the Savage, the protagonist in Aldous Huxley's timeless dystopian novel, Brave New World. In the novel, Huxley imagined a futuristic world state, where social and political status was governed by a predetermined, genetically modified hierarchy, where human embryos were conditioned in labs, where technology governed all in the name of community, identity, and stability. This was the brave new world that John the Savage revolted against. But what exactly was he objecting to? Well, to begin, recall the first sentence of that quote. "But I don't want comfort." Think about that. What a ridiculous thing to say. You're up against an oppressive dystopian world state, and the first thing that's on your mind is that you don't want comfort? Surely there are more distressing things to not want. But for John, that wasn't the case. To understand what he meant, it's important first to understand the time in which the novel was written. It was written in 1931, a time when the world saw tremendous scientific and technological change in aviation, in health and medicine, in transportation and mass production. Most notable, of course, was the Ford assembly line, the brainchild of Henry Ford. This was an advancement so revolutionary and daunting that the godlike dystopian figure in the Brave New World was actually named Ford. And instead of a Christian cross, the religious symbol was a T, after the Model T Ford. And that certainly wasn't a coincidence. Because when we think back to why the Ford assembly line was so revolutionary, we can't help but think of its immense efficiency and convenience. It was mechanical and stable. It was reliable and systematic. It was an ingenious innovation that deserves its accolades. But just as it deserves praise, it should also give us some pause. Because as Huxley demonstrated in Brave New World, when taken to the extreme, we can end up taking comfort in convenience at the expense of true individuality and the uncertainty that lies in adventure. That was Huxley's message of the 1930s. And now it's 2026. Approaching Brave New World's 100-year anniversary, and the message rings just as loud, if not louder. Today, our lives seemed marked by ultra-convenience and comfort. We have on-demand entertainment from services like YouTube, Netflix, and Twitch. We can get food delivered to our doorsteps within minutes from DoorDash and Uber Eats. We have AI chatbots like ChatGPT, Gemini, and Grok that can get us information about anything we want in an instant. Now, some of us might think that these are totally destructive innovations. Others of us might think these are totally amazing. But most of us probably land somewhere in between. But regardless of where we all land, these have all become a part of our digital Brave New World, whether we like it or not. But there's one phenomenon that I think best exemplifies Huxley's message, and something that my generation and even older generations often fall victim to. It's something called doom scrolling. Now, if you haven't heard of it, it's the act of scrolling through an endless stream of short videos online, oftentimes without even knowing how far you've scrolled. Now, I'm sure that almost everyone in this room who has social media probably doom scrolled before. In fact, according to the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, it's likely that out of every 5 people in this room, 4 of you lose sleep due to doom scrolling. Now that's a scary statistic. But I'm not here to scare you. I'm not here to lecture you on how bad or destructive these technologies might be. I merely want to offer a different perspective of our modern uses of technology through the lens of Brave New World. Because I think doom scrolling is a product of what some have called the convenience paradox. The idea that technology is designed to make life easier, faster, and more efficient can actually end up creating new problems that make our lives more miserable. When we doom scroll, millions of videos are accessible with just a swipe of a finger. It's instant, and it's satisfying. In this digital Brave New World, like the Ford assembly line, doom scrolling can be an amazing innovation. It can feel good, but only to a point. And that was part of Huxley's problem with technological dependency. Consider, for example, this scenario from Brave New World that I've always been fascinated with. Imagine in your pocket, there's a bottle of something called Soma. It's a sort of drug, but not exactly. In fact, it has all the benefits of alcohol or other common drugs, but none of their defects. It induces utter euphoria without tomorrow's hangover. Had a bad day at work? Just take Soma. Had a fight with your friends or family? Take Soma. Thinking too deeply about the meaning of your life, especially then, take Soma. Because when you do, all the pain will go away. Until, of course, you have another bad day at work, or have another fight with your friends or family, or think once more too deeply about the meaning of life. Then you'll have to take it all over again. But it's a good thing that it stays in your pocket at all times so you can easily access it. Now, maybe for a lot of us, this is hitting way too close to home. I'd venture to say that almost everyone in this room has a digital bottle of Soma in their pockets right now. And yes, I'm talking about our phones. Our phones have become a fact of life. We can't imagine our lives without it, for better and for worse. But it's not that our phones are the problem. What matters is the way we choose to use our phones. Take doom scrolling, for example. It's rather convenient that we have our phones in our pockets at all times so we can easily scroll through it. And especially now, we do it when we're feeling bored or stressed. But I think we all understand that this isn't the best use of our time. It's not the best use of our phones. We understand, at least at the surface level, that doom scrolling isn't a cure for boredom. It isn't a cure for anxiety. It's merely a temporary distraction. Now, in this digital Brave New World, when we talk about doom scrolling, we can become so easily comfortable in these short periods of convenience, in these short instances of instant gratification, that we become numb to it all. And that's the mistake I think Huxley was warning us about when he wrote Brave New World almost a century ago. He was warning us about those seductive illusions of happiness. And today especially, I believe we ought to heed that warning. Because doom scrolling and its progeny is something that we all should take into account. In this world today, it's important that we consider the dangers of comfort. Because when technology becomes more advanced, it makes our lives more convenient and comfortable, and it certainly will. The burden is more fundamentally on us to see that we don't become comfortable in the conveniences that technology affords us, to avoid the uncomfortable pains. It's on us to escape these seductive illusions of happiness. And it's on us to proudly say to ourselves, just as John the Savage did, but I don't want comfort. to bring home Huxley's message, I want to tell a story of my own. A story about myself. I've been playing the piano since I was just 4 years old. And before you start wondering, no, I'm not a prodigy. I'm just Asian. And one of the first things I learned on the piano is something called the C major scale. It's one of the first scales you learn, partly because it's super simple to play. You start with the middle C, and then you play every white key until you reach the next C. And it's not only easy, it's actually quite comfortable, because your fingers rest effortlessly on each key without having to do any crazy finger gymnastics. But while it's easy and comfortable, there's nothing particularly exciting about playing the C major scale. It's not adventurous. So I played the actually more adventurous songs, like Hot Cross Buns and Mary Had a Little Lamb. As you might expect, these got boring. There's nothing exciting about these. I could play them with my eyes closed. And so then I moved on to play the actually more difficult and adventurous songs, like Arabesque and Clair de Lune. Now, as you can clearly see, it's a completely different experience. So why in the world am I talking about my evolution as a piano player? Well, because the moment I truly fell in love with playing the piano was not when I played the C major scale or even Hot Cross Buns, although those were good starters. It was when I played those more difficult, more adventurous songs like Arabesque and Clair de Lune. Because when we play the piano, we don't just play the white keys. We play the black ones too, with the sharps and the flats. We jump from key to key, oftentimes spanning whole octaves, and we do all of this with resolve and dedication, because what it creates is a beautiful song with a unique character and experience. Similarly in life, we don't just want to play the white keys of comfort and pleasure and avoid playing the black keys of discomfort and pain. It's our duty to play both, because we don't just want comfort. We want real danger. We want the freedom to take risks. We want adventure. And that, to me, and to Huxley, seems to be the real pursuit of happiness. An adventure that is uniquely our own. So in this digital brave new world that is upon us, when we play our own song of life, let's remember not to just play the white keys and avoid playing the black keys. Let's courageously play both. Because when we do, we can end up playing the most beautiful song that is unique to every single one of us. Thank you.